It's a ladies' first edition of the Quest for Gold, starting in Southwest Philly.
Hi, I'm Taryn Hatcher here with Chris Thomas, the captain of the U.S. women's rugby team, and we've got her journey to Tokyo coming up.
Then it's over to North Philly, where the incomparable Dawn Staley has the chance to add to her legendary resume.
They see something in me that's very tangible, which is being the Olympic coach.
But her road to becoming a coach began with the help of a Philly icon. We've got that, and
Johnson denies Megans. The streak continues.
Ashley Johnson is making waves and history for Team USA water polo. And speaking of the water,
Set the record now.
a Unionville rower has burst on the scene. Now he's determined to help the U.S. be the best. We'll introduce you to Justin Best. The games are upon us. This is our NBC 10 special, Quest for Gold. Hello and welcome to our second installment of our Quest for Gold series. I'm Rosemary Connors. Thanks for being with us. Tonight, 3 women take center stage. Ashley Johnson in water polo, Dawn Staley in basketball. But we begin in Southwest Philadelphia with the co-captain of the U.S. women's rugby team, Chris Thomas. NBC Sports Philadelphia's Taryn Hatcher has tonight's What to Watch.
One to Watch, brought to you locally by Giant. For today's table.
Now here's Chris Thomas, ball in hand. Oh, nice footwork, and then the speed, the acceleration, and Chris Thomas levels the score.
Chris Thomas captains Team USA's women's rugby team.
USA on 3. 1, 2, 3. USA.
Her road to the world stage is truly a Philadelphia story. Chris and I sat down for a conversation outside her Southwest Philly home for a look back at how it all started.
Looking around here, Southwest Philly, how does a girl from here, A, get into rugby and then end up going to Tokyo to be part of the Olympic Games?
It's been a long journey.
All smiles as a little girl, Chris grew up loving sports.
I've always been that kid that's like never home. I was always out running around with my friends, so I think just like liking sports kind of eventually took me to rugby.
Chris Thomas goes for the corner, and there it is. Easy as you like. Chris Thomas gets try number 67. She's just come on the field, and that's an impact you want.
How do you think Philly and that toughness and that grittiness that kind of becomes ingrained in you really truly prepared you for what you're doing now?
I think I definitely do take kind of like that Philly pride and that Philly toughness for me, like when I play sports, you know, like for me, I've always been someone that kind of struggled a little bit with confidence, and I think rugby in general is like a sport that just can be really empowering.
Off of this turnover, stops, she stutters, and she goes again. I mean, you cannot buy that.
I definitely take that like Philly pride and that grit into the sport when I'm playing rugby.
No one will feel more pride than Chris's dad, Larry, when he sees his daughter represent Team USA in Tokyo.
She likes to achieve, and we're behind her. Her mother and I and her family, we're behind her 100%. And we're real proud of her.
He's like the most selfless person I've ever met. Like, he will give you his last dollar. Like when we were kids, he would like see all the other kids out here playing with us, and if he was coming outside to give us something, he gave it to every single kid on the block. Like, he's just the most selfless person I've ever met.
Chris is the big story on her block in Southwest Philly, and in North Philly, too. Rayburn Park, to be exact, where Chris and I caught up on another place that helped her reach the Olympic stage.
You were telling us this is a pretty special place for you and the beginnings of your athletic career, right?
Yeah, so the first sport that I played was actually running track, and my middle school is right down the street, St. Martin de Porres, and we actually used to run over here on this path when I was a kid.
Chris was kind enough to show me some rugby basics, but it wasn't that long ago that she was just learning the sport. She was 18 years old at the University of Central Florida.
I went to the practice. I was really shy because I didn't know anyone. I didn't really know anything about rugby besides like a few things. So we did like this passing drill that was really confusing, and I was terrible. And then we did this like a tackling drill, and one of the forwards just right out knocked me on my butt. Yeah, I got laid out in my first practice, but I kept showing up.
She kept showing up all right, and she kept working. sculpting her body into elite shape, refusing to stop until she reached her Olympic goal.
She's just driven. It's just in her from the womb to now. I'm just beyond proud of her. Like, the life that she lives is most people's dream.
That's Chris's mom, Kim. She's spent 2 decades as a Philadelphia police officer, and Chris's toughness comes largely from her.
She has always really been such like a strong role model. Like everyone always asks, like when they find out that I have a parent that's a cop, they always ask if it's my dad when it's actually my mom. You know, she's always been like this really like alpha female, like a really strong, like will say whatever's on her mind, like very opinionated. Like I just love that. Like she has no fear.
Whatever she sets her mind to, she excels in it. And I'm not just saying that because she's my child. That's just her.
Chris will carry Southwest Philly with her and apply the life lessons she learned from her parents.
Growing up with like my parents the way they are, I think, especially my dad, like he really ingrained in that, like the value of community. And I think if you approach a team sport having those values of like really valuing the friendships, the relationships, the community, I think it'll send that team to a whole nother level. So I think like my parents, both of them definitely like ingrained that in me from a young age.
For our Quest for Gold special, Taryn Hatcher, NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Man, what a story, right? All right, well, from a first-time Olympian to one of the most decorated Olympians of all time, North Philly's Dawn Staley. She's a 5-time Olympic gold medalist, 3 times as a player, twice as an assistant coach. Now she is the head coach for the women's team. Our Tracy Davidson has more on the assist she received from a coaching legend to help her reach this moment.
Guiding to Gold, brought to you locally by Pocono Mountains. Plan your summer getaway at PoconoMountains.com.
United States of America!
A little girl growing up in the streets of North Philly would not have fathomed the kind of experiences that I've had.
That's Dawn Staley, 2-time gold medalist.
Dawn Staley's resume rivals anyone in Philadelphia sports history.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Dawn Staley.
Co-captain Dawn Staley. Now you can add a new title. Team USA Women's National Team Head Coach.
Go BJ, go screen BJ, go screen BJ.
Compete. Hopefully we'll get a lot of people in here to appreciate the product that's on the floor. We certainly do as coaches in USA Basketball. To hear Dawn Staley being the USA Basketball national team coach that will coach in the Olympic Games, it's kind of weird.
Staley underneath, banks it in, and that will seal it.
Because I always see myself as one that has played the game as a player, not so much as a coach.
Dawn's road to becoming a head coach began like everything has in her life in North Philadelphia.
She was extraordinary. Extraordinary as a leader. When she spoke, everybody listened.
That's the late, great John Chaney. We were with Coach last February in his Philadelphia home. Coach Chaney helped guide Dawn to her first head coaching job at Temple.
I just know if she got into coaching, it was something that she would do and do well. Having come through some of the problems that she did in North Philadelphia, and then standing tall, doing some of the necessary things and guiding young women and young men.
Oh man, Coach Chaney is by far my favorite coach.
Dawn and Coach Chaney shared a bond that ran deep.
He was a disciplined coach, and he still coaches because he calls me all the time and sends fruit baskets every time that we've done a great job of taking care of the basketball.
That interview came shortly before Coach Chaney died. Dawn honored her mentor after his passing by wearing a t-shirt with the slogan he made famous, "Winning is an attitude."
A lot of people text me and they were like, may he rest in peace. And I said, yeah, heaven won't get off that easy. Nothing Coach Chaney did was peaceful because he had to make an impact.
Dawn has made her impact.
South Carolina has won the national championship.
As a national champion at South Carolina, as a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, and now as a head coach for Team USA.
It's super cool because I'm actually beacon of hope for young people who can't see outside of themselves, can't see outside of their current situations, but yet, you know, they see something in me that's very tangible, which is being the Olympic coach.
She's somebody that if I was a cowboy, I'd have roped and tied and kept her here, tied to Philadelphia. But she belongs to the world.
Dawn will be on the world stage once again in Tokyo, but her hometown will be along for the ride.
I'll be packing North Philly like I do with any other place that I reside, any other place that I visit. North Philadelphia never leaves this body.
For our Quest for Gold special, Tracy Davidson, NBC 10 News.
Tracy, thanks. Still to come. Ashley Johnson is the final barrier for Team USA's women's water polo team, and she's breaking down barriers in her sport.
It's a huge responsibility. It's such an honor.
Her story and...
I'm Tim Furlong with the story of Justin Best, a young man aiming to make sure Team USA is the best in the world in the heavyweight 8. And it's a journey that began right here on the Christina River in Wilmington.
Quest for Gold returns right after this.
Forever Gold, brought to you locally by Fred Beans. See why it's better at fredbeans.com.
Brilliant save from point-blank range. You'd have almost put money on the Italian scoring a goal there, but she's made a stunning save, and they can't find a way past her. She's having a stunning game in goal for the USA.
You look at Johnson right now, she's glowing. She's in her moment. This is probably one of the greatest moments of performance that she will enjoy.
A gold medal performance by the USA.
Ashley Johnson is and will forever be golden. She helped lead Team USA to a gold medal in 2016, and now she is back. NBC 10's Keith Jones has this NBC 10 exclusive with the Princeton graduate who has become a human barrier for her team while breaking down barriers in her sport.
It's a lot like a mix of wrestling, hockey. So there's contact, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of change of direction.
And there's only one Ashley Johnson.
Johnson denies Meggins. The streak continues.
The 25-year-old is the first African-American on the U.S. women's water polo team, paving a new and difficult path.
I didn't have anyone who looked like me at this level, and I think that's a lot of the reason why I didn't have the Olympic dream of being a water polo player when I was younger.
As a girl, her mom gave her a choice: learn to swim or learn a little-known sport with what looked like a volleyball. She chose the latter.
I was just in it to play and have fun, which I think is really important too, but being able to see yourself in someone and know that there's someone there like you who's doing what you want to do lets it become a reality.
So Ashley practiced hard to become a role model. She chose Princeton University and became the school's all-time leader in saves, clearly making a name for herself here.
It's funny, I'm looking at you right now, and I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
What do you think of this picture here?
It's a little rough.
Let me get you smiling.
I know, right? I smile when I'm like,
you look great though. Yeah, right. You're gonna start doing that now.
Yeah.
One person who knows that face well is Team USA coach Adam Krikorian.
You think, oh, she's so sweet and so nice, and she is. She's the sweetest person in the world, but deep down in there, she's got just a kind of a nasty competitiveness.
And at 25 years old, Ashley told me she's just getting started, both in the water and in the eyes of young girls everywhere.
I think that's such a special responsibility and such a huge role that I play in my sport.
Keith Jones, NBC 10 News.
All right, we stay in the water for this next one and move to rowing. It was just about 10 years ago when Jean and Glenn Best were watching the movie The Social Network. They saw the rowing scenes and thought, this would be a good sport for our son Justin. Fast forward a decade, and Justin is headed to Tokyo as a member of the USA Men's Heavyweight 8. Our Tim Furlong has more on Justin and his Philly teammates.
In
it is a slow build, honestly. Like at first I was just like, this is a cool activity I enjoy doing.
Things started getting serious for Justin Best when he met Brooks Reinhardt of the Wilmington Rowing Center. Brooks put Justin in a single boat. His ambition took over.
You'd say, okay, let's row 10 miles, and he'd come in and go, can we do 2 more? Yeah, okay. And off we go, He was always like, yeah, I'm ready to do more.
Justin graduated from Unionville High School in Chester County. His senior yearbook laid out his Olympic dreams.
So it was, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And so I was class of 2015, so I was like, all right, LA 2028. And, here I am all these years later, and I'm like, it's still pretty unbelievable.
It wasn't all that unbelievable for Paul Savell. He's the head rowing coach at Drexel, and he saw Justin blossom into his team's captain with the Dragons.
He was a special guy, but he didn't start that way. I mean, he made himself special because nobody outworked him. Nobody worked harder than him.
Justin's hard work came on the Schuylkill River. The countless hours he put in along Boathouse Row will serve him well in Tokyo.
I was fortunate enough to win a Dad Vale Regatta in 2017. Knowing that community, knowing that history right along Boathouse Row, it is fantastic that we have that, and I wouldn't be here without that entire setup.
Justin's parents, Glenn and Jean, continue to push Justin to be his very best. So too does the memory of his cousin Matt, who died of brain cancer at only 28 years old.
That entire event made me realize, life is short. You don't know how many days you have. You're going to Tokyo, and if we were to win for that, that would be a perfect the cap to that mantra in Matt's memory.
You get a kid like this, 1 in 500. Kid just loves to go, and you gotta love it.
Not many love their sport more than Justin, and he's bursting with pride to represent his country.
I think this group of guys that we have, especially with the Philly representation, we're on the right path.
So you heard Justin mention all the Philly ties on his boat. His teammates, Nick Mead and Julian Vinonsky, they're Episcopal and Malvern guys. And the team's coach, Mike Tatey, he's a Delco guy. So Philly, this is like our boat. We got to pull hard for this squad. For Quest for the Gold, I'm Tim Furlong, NBC 10.
You heard it right there. Now, we've been telling you all about all of these local athletes and coaches to watch during the games, and you can literally watch every second of Olympic action on your TV or your mobile device. With a look at how our parent company, Comcast, is making that possible, here's NBC 10's Lucy Bustamante.
So this is the most ambitious Olympics experience we've ever created.
52-51-0. That's a new world record.
The Olympic Games are finally upon us. You can watch the world's best athletes on the entire NBC family of networks. And NBC's parent company Comcast has its Xfinity X1 platform ready to go.
We really have an unparalleled content offering. We're going to be allowing our customers to watch every single minute of the Olympics. That's over 7,000 hours available.
The offering is huge, and it also includes NBC's new streaming service, Peacock.
Original programming throughout the day to get caught up, as well as exclusive looks at the USA men's basketball team and some gymnastics. In addition to all that live programming, our customers who watch on Peacock will be able to also watch tons of highlights to stay updated on all the sports for the Olympics.
Athingmo, the 19-year-old, is going to Tokyo.
Highlights this year are personalized. So if you're watching from Trenton and you want to watch teenage sensation Athingmu and her track and field team run for gold, there is a channel for that.
This came out of market research. This is something our customers told us they want. They said, 7,000 hours, all that coverage of the Olympics is fantastic, but can you make it easy for me to get to my favorite sports? So we took it back to the teams, we brainstormed, and the way that we're going to allow it is our customers can go through and pick any one of the 41 sports that they want to follow. And then once they do that, all of that content will be brought front and center to their Olympics hub on X1.
The process is simple. Just pick up your remote, say Olympics, and watch the magic come into your living room.
Everything Olympics will be at their fingertips. And then those favorite sports will be right there.
There will also be Olympic documentaries. The medal count will be available at all times. And of course, all of your favorite NBC broadcasters with the very latest from the games.
Everybody's ready to put COVID behind them. How do we put together the most optimal Olympics experience possible for our customers, whether they're an internet customer, whether they're a video customer? And we believe we've done that, and I hope our customers think so too. We can't wait to bring it to them.
Pros on Tokyo. Brought to you locally by Virtua Health, here for women at every stage of life.
For tonight's Pros on Tokyo, we asked our area pros to tell us their favorite summer Olympian of all time. And when we asked Phillies Wall of Famer John Kruk for his choice, he told us an amazing story about a personal connection to one of the most famous Olympians ever.
Growing up watching the Summer Olympics, my favorite athlete, of course, is Mary Lou Retton. She's a West Virginia girl, and her Uncle Joe recruited me to play basketball at Fairmont State University in West Virginia. Actually went over to Mr. Retton's house, had dinner, lunch with them, and Mary Lou actually was there. So it was nice meeting her then, but then, getting to watch her in the Olympics was something special.
My favorite Olympian of all time is Michael Johnson. Why? Because I love his running style. Why? Because I love the gold shoes. Why? Because I love track and field. Michael Johnson is my all-time favorite Olympian.
I was hurt in 2011. I stepped on an IED. My job was actually an EOD technician, so my job was to try to help our forces over there avoid IEDs. Unfortunately, I missed one on September 7th, 2011. Lucky I was able to walk away from the incident, but the bad news is I was blinded as a result. But like a lot of our brothers and sisters in the service, I didn't really want that to be the end of the story.
In lane 4, though, is a man looking to become a 5-time Paralympic Games.
That's Brad Snyder speaking to fellow vets of the Battleship New Jersey. Brad went on to become a 5-time Paralympic swimming gold medalist. Now he will compete as a triathlete in Tokyo. He's tonight's Heart of Gold, and here he is explaining why he's taking on this new challenge.
Heart of Gold, brought to you locally by Penn Medicine. The ability to change the world starts with seeing a new one.
It's about the person you become by adhering yourself to that grind. So for me after Rio, I really had a great games. It was an awesome experience. I did a bunch of races and I won some medals and it was outstanding. But for me, I think I wanted that challenge to evolve.
Brad made the change just 3 years ago, and in his first event this year, he finished first. The Paralympics begins in less than 1 month. Thanks so much for being with us and watching tonight. Enjoy the games all week long here on NBC 10. We'll be back next Saturday with a focus on track and field prodigy from Trenton. Good night, and stick around for the Olympic Zone that comes your way at 7:30. See you in a few.